Jesse Webb, TradersPro. Market conditions remain bullish in a bull market. Overall bias continuing with a little bit of a pullback here, which we'll want to start seeing some support here real soon at these levels. And we should have some support areas coming up that we'll talk about. We've seen a little bit of pullback in that momentum indicator here. Breadth is still above average. It's still not super exciting, but it is trending in the right direction. We've got sentiment, which is also still to that upper range. That's pretty common for that to maintain that level in overall bullish market conditions. And we're seeing here's the momentum indicator. It's slid back off of this extreme area, which is what we want to see. We want to see it continue to work back into the zone. Now what we want to see is we want to see a day or two of support at these levels to really indicate that we're not just sliding, that this is just profit taking and a little bit of a pause on this overall area. We do have buy sell ratios coming back together again, so we'll keep an eye on that, see if we do start to find some stability right here and some support. One of the couple of concerning things in this overall rally is we've seen really in the overall market, which has been kind of strange, and that is just this intensity level is just dead right here. Okay, typically we're way up into these ranges, something like that, but now we're just seeing these really tight moves where we're just not getting a lot of conviction right here. And that's really what has been the feeling in the market recently. And we're seeing that in the indicators as well. Sentiment pulling back down to 70. As long as we stay above that 50% line right here, we're fine. So any pullbacks into this level and then starting to find some support are going to be key right here. If we look at SPY, we've got kind of that similar pattern here where it's pulled back. This is set up to where that ideal pattern that I've talked about. So we can have this bi-direction pullback this way, which just means we're sliding back out of these extreme areas. We can also have it moving this direction. So if you're looking at this chart and you're asking yourself, which direction are we moving? We'll just look at the chart, because it's just the slider. This momentum is just giving us an indication of where we're at in the overall trend. So you're seeing that we're just having a pullback. We've got some support levels right here. There's another major one that's right here. So if we can pull back and maintain this this buy trend, that's ideal. If we start to see some aggressive selling and we tick back down into this hold, there may be something more at play. But as of current, these current last 2 days have not been really aggressive selling. It just feels like it's profit taking. It's just a pause from this overall trend. If we take a look at some of the muscle stocks today, we've got ELVN, which is kind of a sloppy chart pattern right here. I don't love these when we're going into, especially on a 6-month time frame. If you zoom out a little bit, sometimes you get a little bit clearer picture. In this case, looking at that perspective, it's not quite as bad, but this has just created a lot of chop. And that happens in bear markets. It happens at the top of trends, especially here. You have a big, massive run up. It takes a long time to kind of consolidate those gains. And so here we may be consolidating. We've had a couple of false breakouts, but nonetheless, this could be ending that. So I'd keep an eye on that one. It's got some work to do. Obviously, it's kind of stuck right in that range. It's not a good solid breakout. So not a beautiful chart pattern, but it is giving a signal, a new uptrend as of today. RIOT, which is an old high flyer from the COVID days, Riot Blockchain. They're a Bitcoin miner. We're seeing Bitcoin come to life here and cryptos come to life. We saw MARA also. MARA, which had a big buy bar the other day, a little bit of a gap in retracement today, but keep an eye on both of those, RIOT and MARA. They have been, if I can go back that far, they were stocks. This still doesn't even show it, but they had huge runs, and this pattern actually looks pretty compelling right here as well, where you get this move up and then a retracement back down. That gives us that long counter trend pause, and essentially you're getting a lower low. Now you're getting higher lows. That's a new uptrend in place. So this could be the early phases in some of these potentially some of these crypto stocks and these mining stocks and hardware stocks that have to do with Bitcoin. I'd keep an eye on those because Bitcoin is coming to life. In fact, we saw that. We talked about that. I don't know if it's still showing up here. Probably not, but we had several. We talked about that yesterday. We had several of these Bitcoin companies and crypto ETFs that were really starting to have some nice moves. Let's go back to this. So we're looking at RIOT. We've got VRDN, biotech, some volatility here towards the downside of that trend. And if we go back to a year chart, let's see if we've got a decent pullback. Yeah, this is got a little bit deeper retracement than I like to look for. I like to see them a little bit higher, something more like this, and then starting that breakout towards that upper third or quarter of the chart itself from that lower left to upper right formation. DAKT, let's go to the 6 month here. Not a nice pattern, $6 stock, possible breakout with a pretty light retracement there. So a really tight pattern, tight trends when they're just really hugging inside of this. There's just, there's not a lot of this like we saw in that first chart. It's pretty tight pattern. When I see these, hold on to stocks like these for your watch list, because when they run very smoothly, about all we can do, you've heard the phrase past performance doesn't indicate future performance, but what the past does for certain stocks is it shows us what the characteristics of those stocks are. So we could look at a stock and say, the characteristics of this stock are that it's not extremely volatile up and down from day to day. It follows its price trend pattern pretty smoothly. So that's just an indication of some of the characteristics of the trend and how that stock trades and moves. And those are also important when you're looking at trend continuation and follow through on certain stocks. You just don't, you want something that might add a little bit of predictability. This is a nice looking pattern, nice looking area in the trend. Lots of green on fundamentals, potential breakout trade right here with a solid bar at about 4.5% to that upside. Stop loss at the low point right here. And then just watching for some continuation for that. I apologize about these coughs. I had COVID a couple of years ago, really bad. Put me in the hospital and created a little bit of lung issues. So I apologize. I fight this every morning and try to keep it as non-intrusive as possible. Nonetheless, let's take a look at a couple of other charts here. Another nice looking one here, IPAR, cosmetic stocks, really smooth trends. You can see when the trend broke, it broke aggressively, but once we turn the corner, what we're looking for that seller, that seller completion. We're looking for that support area where we start to get some demand to come back in. And as that starts to happen, now we've got that confirmation for that overall uptrend on that stock. So that looks like the top 4 or 5 stocks that we've got today. We cruise through a couple of these others, see if there's anything interesting. FRO, I did see this one, a shipping stock. These shippers have had a long retracement. They may be coming back to life here as well after a pretty decent retracement on FRO. And if we go to that 1 year chart, you can see it's just hasn't done a whole lot here for most of the year and is now working on a possible new uptrend for FRO. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day.